So, staying with the gentleman from Holmfirth. I said Holmesfield, didn't I, yesterday? Holmesfield's near Sheffield. Holmesfirth. We're back to last of the summer wine. Right, so this is a Midland 77095. And experience shows these can suffer from dry joints, but perhaps this one is splendid and dandy and doesn't need anything doing. So I'll switch the soldering iron on, because if I don't, it'll need something doing. He says he was given this one, and it comes with the factory microphone with a splodge of solder in it. So we've still got a transistor radio video in the making. We're not far off the next organ video. I've been busy making a control valve as well as carrying on leathering that bellows. Let's see what's in this CB. Go. So we'll plug in the extension speaker. I can't see any silly modifications on this one. Perhaps people had grown out of that by the time these were out. So, it has the chip that makes it boot up on channel 9, which is annoying. Whoa! Yeah, we are plugged in. So we have no output on transmit. So let's just see whether it's transmitting internally. Testing 1, 2. Yes, it is. So it's generating the frequencies. So let's see whether it's receiving. So we'll put 2779125 on the signal generator for channel 20. Okay. We'll plug the extension speaker back in. That's 100 microvolt S9 signal. Now these don't have a meter. And that's receiving fine, so it's not like the aerial's disconnected. These are, although these are 2781, I don't think they've got low power. No, they haven't. I've bounced the power, and now I've got to split it back to channel 20. Okay. Well, I'm going to open the other lid just to see whether there's some blatant dry joint stopping it from transmitting. But chances are it's going to be an actual fault. Oh dear, that doesn't want to come out. Right, so I'll have a look at this. So I got my RF voltmeter on it, and I saw that it was giving power from the driver. I saw it was going into the output transistor, but it wasn't coming out. So I've just desoldered the output transistor, and it's actually blown apart. So it's actually had a short on it to do that, I would suggest. And it's a 2SC2075. I might have one on a scrap chassis. So, but it's a matter of whether there's one with long enough leads on a scrap chassis. I'll just look into that. So I've got one here. We had 1 or 2 transistors, and there's so many fakes around. I just felt that I paid, shall we say, sensible money, not 10 for 50 pence. And I thought from the picture they looked a bit tarnished. Well, they're going to be 20 years old, so anything that looks really, really shiny on parts that are long discontinued is a bit suspect to me. So I thought we'll give that a go. So let's hope that they're not fakes. Because they're not going to be 30 pence a piece, are they, if they're real? So we've got nothing second hand, but there is a 2SC275, and it even purports to be the same brand, whoever KR. So we better put some thermal paste on that, or we'll be having another one blow up. So one of those things you need to check when changing output transistors is to make sure you've got the insulation kit back, the thermal heat compound applied, the insulation washer. So we need to just check that we don't have continuity between, see there and the screw should have continuity, but there and the device shouldn't, and that is correct. So we know we haven't got a problem from installation. So I just need to bend these legs over and solder them. Make sure that one's pushed down. We will then go over this with isopropyl alcohol if the set works. So you don't want any spikes on the soldering. RF likes to jump from spikes. It needs to be smooth. Right, we'll power that back up. Finger. Okay, so we now have 3 watts, just about. So we'll go through the tune-up. So we'll start by having a look at whether the radio's on frequency. So I'll pop that onto the frequency counter. Should have 2779125. 79099. Isn't out of spec, but we'll bring it up anyway. Oh, just a tad high there. I don't mind it being a little bit high, because they do drop with age. Oh well, that's pretty spot on. Right, so we'll go through it. We'll assume the VCO is okay, because it's not a set that's been faffed about with. It's just simply been blown up with the short circuit aerial. So we've got peak there, peak, got peak there now. So that's definitely 3 watts. I think that could be the trap for second harmonic. We'll check that with the spectrum analyzer. I've got the wrong screen on. So full scale deflection, a good 3 watts. So I'll just check the deviation. Testing 1, 2, wallow. It's as quiet as it came out of the factory. Can't remember which deviation is. Probably that one. Probably not. It's probably that one. Probably is. One, 2, wallow. Actually, just a fraction over the top. One, 2, testing, wallow. That's it. So 2.2 with absolute maximum of 2.5. So deviation is the top corner. So I don't know what the other two are. One's going to be Squelch. So perhaps one is power. Let's have a look. Yes, it is. So got that turned down to 4. I'll put the spectrum analyzer on. That can be logging itself onto whatever it logs onto. So that's transmit. We've done frequency, we've done deviation, we've done the power. We're going to check that. So that's nice and straightforward. Just wait for the spectrum analyzer, and we need to plug a sniffer lead in. Where's all that gone? Probably just put an aerial on it, to be honest. Switch the camera to the spectrum analyzer. So at the centre we've got 2779125. Which is right there. So we just put in, let's look at 54 megs as a second harmonic. So frequency 54 megs. That's our 27. In fact, we've got nothing. We've got no harmonics which are discernible. Just got the 27 signal, so that's fine. Because this is a bit later specs, there's a bit more filtration than some of the earlier sets. Though it isn't 2794, it's still on 2781 spec, so we haven't hit there. It's what are these? Probably about 1992 or 3, just before that next spec came out. So I'm satisfied that even if that was the trap for the second harmonic, then it's spot on. So we'll now go back to receive. Switch that off, and we will look at the oscilloscope next. Switch that on, that can be warming up, and we want the detector. Well, the detector looks to me like it's that coil there. So we want an S9 equivalent signal. Of 100 microvolts. We'll just make sure that's maximum. And it was, didn't need adjusting. So at the moment it's receiving at, let's put that back on. At the moment it's receiving 0.75 microvolts for 12 dB sine. Now, I'll tell you what, it's good practice to put the bottom on. I'm not going to screw this on because I want to clean where I've been soldering. See, that has altered it a bit. We're now at 0.65 microvolts. So we'll just turn the attenuator to get about 4 dB on the cyanide meter, and then we'll just go through the front end. So no improvement there. A little bit of an improvement there. No improvement there. Nothing there. Possibly a fraction there. Just going to put a bigger signal on. See whether that's... Nope. Nope. Let's go back to the 4 dB. Okay. So just check there's no more coils lurking that I don't know about. I think we're there. So let's read that off now. Probably not much different. 0.6 microvolts. But no one's going to argue at that. So it's doing 4 watts, 0.6 microvolts, and for 10 dB it's doing about 0.48. Okay. Does it do 20 ever? Does eventually. It does for 20, it does about 1.8 microvolts. So, power, deviation, that must be Squelch. So we're going to turn the Squelch to full, and now put the signal generator to 100 microvolts and hope it comes in. It doesn't. I want it to, so we'll adjust it till it does. Try that again. There we go. That's it. That's where I want it. So now we'll turn the Squelch to threshold, having turned the signal generator off to standby. So I've parked the signal generator at 0.3 microvolts. Switch it back on. Straight in. So the Squelch is coming in at 0.82 of a microvolt, and it's disappearing off at 0.47 of a microvolt. Very nice. That's going to work very well. So I couldn't see any dry joints on it. I can't even remember whether these sets suffer from that. So we'll now put the speaker back on it. Just tin that. I'll check which is negative just for the record. It's probably, turn the power off, it's probably the black one, but I might be wrong. It's the black one. We'll just check it isn't the brown one. It isn't. And then I've no doubt Mr. Chippy will be raring to do for a scratchy corner test. So another set which isn't going to be a cheap repair because those transistors aren't cheap, but it's another nice little set back in the land of the living. I think I'll cut that off and start again with it because it's been soldered a few million times. So I'm going to screw this lid in, but not the bottom one because I still need to clean that with the isopropyl alcohol. So I'll just recover the screws from where I hid them. Or better just check the speaker works. It does. Put the squelch on. But with the output transistors being blown up like that, it's not just a matter of a bad SWR. To be blown up, it's got to be short circuit. So there you go. You know, they're going to be somewhere around a 5 of those transistors, so it's not something you want to be throwing away. Sometimes, you know, these transistors come up on scrap sets and they're quite usable, but I think I remember that every time I have found them on scrap sets, things like old Maxcom 4Es, which are very reliable sets, but nevertheless I end up buying scrap chassis like that. But the leads are much shorter, so you can't really, and you can't be adding anything on when it's in an RF position like that. So let's plug the aerial in. I'm very pleased the radio is doing a full 4 watts. Switch the test set off. Switch picture in picture off. And let's see what good or bad buddies are out there. One Nano Roger. Somebody there about 40 miles away. Somebody there about 40 miles away. What's he saying? Wobble, wobble, wobble. I must have got Mr. Blobby. 19, Roger. Okay. There we are, Midland 77095, back in the land of the living. I better return the desolder braid to Mr. Chippy. Well, that was an exasperated sigh, wasn't it? I'd be exasperating sighing if I had to listen to them all day. There we go. So another one can find its way over to Nora Batty, and there's the blown up transistor 2SC2075. Thanks for watching.